Hey, welcome back to the DP channel, and today we do have two Kamen Riders, alright, to showcase you guys, and they're actually from the latest set as well. So we do have Kamen Rider W on the left side as well as Kamen Rider 01 on the right. So personally, these two are one of my favorite Kamen Rider series, and we do have a good game to showcase you guys, as we do see the right player actually going for the Shining Hopper, picking up the Metal Cluster and immediately dropping it off. And sometimes I feel Metal Cluster Hopper has two ways about it, right? It is a good card in the front line, but however, if you realize if you're playing towards the Realizing Hopper, you actually can't raid over it. So that's kind of funny. But however, the main focus here today will definitely be the Kamen Rider W. They do have quite an interesting mechanic through memory change, and it will be showcased later in the game itself. As you do see the players just setting up their energy, nothing too special here. Right player going for the new Breaking Mammoth as well as the Shining Assault Hopper in the backline. But however, this is the first 3 AP turn for the left player here, and leaving no bodies in the front line might spell a lot of trouble, as he does push up the Heat Metal to the front line and is ready to go for the swing. Does actually play the wrong W card here. It does go for the memory change, and this memory change is pretty interesting, as you do retire one active card in your area, and you draw a card and you can play a 2 energy below into the front line active. And we do see a Luna Joker, which allows you to spawn one more card, and a Heat Joker does allow plus 2k power to the metal, and we do see a Fang Joker immediately, which allows him to derate. Very interesting way of derating, but it does allow him for a 2 4k swing immediately, hitting to a draw trigger, which is pretty nice, but we do expect 4 damage already, which is pretty nuts. Alright, actually just 3, so sorry, but actually 3 damage already been done, and the 01 definitely has a lot of catching up to do. Now for the new set, we do introduce 2 new cards for the 01. One of them is actually the Breaking Mammoth, and the other will actually be the Hell Rising Hopper. I believe he's going to play this turn here, as he does go for the Henshin, which is basically the final, allowing him to stand 2 AP, and let's go for the Hell Rising Hopper. The Hell Rising Hopper allows you to discard 1 card from your life and 1 card from your hand, which allows you to draw 2 cards, alright, effectively replenishing the resources, and it stands active immediately. Now this allows you to also raid the Realizing Hopper after the swing, so it does create 5 attack in this one turn. But however, he does play the 01 Hopper into the front line, which is not going to do too much here, as it's just a 0 cost. The first swing does hit into a draw trigger, very lucky because it's not a special, and we do see the Realizing Hopper finally coming down. And Realizing Hopper does have a very interesting way of playing, as he does keep raiding. So it does raid into the next one, swinging to the life. But we do hit into the Extreme Joker here, which allows him to raid immediately because he does have the energy thanks to the memory change. And the W Extreme Joker actually does have a very interesting requirement. You do really need 4 different kind of W and different energies, which he does have, alright, the 2, 1, 3s and 4s. It does include itself, so it allows him to push back one of the opponent units to the back line. He can actually choose the Realizing Hopper, mainly because Realizing Hopper does have a very unique protection for that turn of the aggressive play. So he does push back one of the Shining Hopper to the back line, and this stops the turn immediately. We do see the memory change going straight away, killing off one of his own cards, and does draw 1, immediately playing down the Luna Joker once again, which allows him to play 1 card for free, effectively fueling up the board very well. Playing the Heat Joker once again, it's going to apply the 2k power, most likely to the Heat Joker, or rather the Heat Metal in the front line. Let's go for the special, because now the special can count on your, can target the Realizing Hopper because the protection is only for that turn. Let's go for the Cyclone Metal in the back line. It's actually going to decide to raid another Extreme Joker, and looks like it's going to raid it in the energy line, alright, saving the impact one for the next turn. And let's activate its effect to push back the Hell Rising Hopper to the back line, and now the Hell Rising Hopper loses all its effect for the whole turn, which is pretty much useless now. Right, we do see a red trigger here hitting to Realizing Hopper, and effectively it's going to be a 5k unit in the front line here, so which is going to be very nice to block one of the attacks. So deciding whether to raid onto the Shining Hopper or the Hell Rising, because Hell Rising currently is vanilla, so it's not going to do too much. But however, it does decide to raid onto the Shining Hopper here, and the Shining Hopper, or rather the Realizing Hopper, will be 5k. Alright, the Joker will swing for 3.5k here. Not going to do too much, he's going to let it go, hitting to a no trigger once again, very unfortunate. And we're going to block the 5k, as well as use the Shining Hopper to actually block off the Heat Metal there. And we are already at 1 life. 1 life against the 4 life. This is going to be a massive climb. And one thing bad about the Hell Rising Hopper is that, you know, you can't exactly use this effect even though you are already at 1 life, right? Because you are required to take 1 life. So it's going to be pretty painful. And let's not forget that the Realizing Hopper, rather the Hell Rising Hopper, sorry, has lost all its effect thanks to the Extreme Joker. So this Extreme Joker is actually pretty strong, alright? Basically being opponent open 1 hole in the front line as well as pushing back the card. So as well as actually nullifying the effect. So the card is effectively useless and vanilla for that whole turn. So it's not going to do too much. And we do see him actually going for the AP draw 1 here. And he does actually have the Extreme pushing it back from the energy line. And I would think this is probably the final turn, alright, because we do have the Funk Joker in the front line doing 3 4k swings. Does go for the memory change and allow him to draw 1 once again. And looks like he does actually go for the Heat Metal. I'm not going to do too much, but he does actually have another memory change, going to kill all the Heat Metal once again, allowing him to draw 1. And he does actually draw into a very interesting card here, which is going to be the Cyclone Joker, which is basically the original rider, which allows you to actually AP 1, and now it becomes a double attacker. Alright, simply as that. Alright, he's going to go for the first swing here, and if he does block it, it's going to immediately stand. And because it's just only 1.5k DP, alright, it's going to be an effective block and allows him to use the Funk Joker to restand the restanded Cyclone Joker. And this is going to be pretty much it because of that very exciting Extreme Joker. Very strong card, and this is the deck list if you guys are interested in. And this is the deck list for the other player if you guys are interested as well.